Mike's Daily Podcast.
Wow. You know what happened just now is like I was getting ready to leave and I go, heck, I'm going to do a podcast. You're welcome.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Really?
Yes. I said I'm going to go and then I said I'd stay.
Why?
Because people want to hear my show and what the hey, it's been good that I took a day off. Yes, it was fun. I got a cough. Because what happened was on
Mike's Daily Podcast.
What was it? Was it Wednesday? Yeah, because the last show was on Tuesday.
Mike's
Is that what we did?
Daily
Is that I had
Podcast.
to do was
Yeah.
I wanted to go home. I wanted to spend time with my lovely lady friend because she's so lovely. She's like little cupids flying around and so hot.
Machi.
Yes, this show's got sound effects because I got sound effects back here at Cafe Anyway today. So it's, you know what it is? It is
Awesome.
yes. But what I would like to tell you is, remember back in the day when we were talking about Trump, and he was like talking about building a wall. We were like, oh, did he do that? Did he build a wall?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
No, I just was saying, because this was once said by a very smart, wise person.
Didn't they try the fence thing at the Alamo? Didn't we try that? Didn't they build the wall, and then the Mexicans had what they call a ladder?
The late, great Gary Shandling.
Awesome.
I know. But at any rate, this is the show called Mike's Daily Podcast that we think about things and then we go,
Oh, well, la-di-da, la-di-da.
because we can't change anything in this world. No, you can. You can do things. You can make a moment Monday. No, wait, it's Thursday, so it's got to be.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Think about it Thursday is what it is. Let's see, it's Tuesday is too much stuff Tuesday. A heck of a lot Tuesday is what it is.
Oh, yeah, how much? A lot.
And then there's Oh My Monday.
Oh, my.
And then there's Cafe Anyway. Wednesday. And then there's What's the Matter with You Friday.
What is the matter with you?
Or is it Something Must Be Wrong with You Friday?
Something must be wrong with you.
I don't know. Maybe it's I'm Crazy Thursday.
I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy like that. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's You'd Be in Jail Thursday.
Because you'd be in jail.
Basil! Oh! That's the guy who lays down the law right there. Basil the boxer. He was in the last podcast picture. I was actually at his Field of Dreams where I probably recorded him running around and laughing there. Today, and I was with some friends and they have their pets. One of the pets there was as old as Basil's birthday, by the way, is tomorrow. Maybe another reason why I was so gung-ho on doing a podcast today and celebrating Basil the Boxer's birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday to Basil. Happy birthday to Basil. The late great Basil passed away 2 months ago today. 2 months ago today. And so tomorrow we'll be celebrating his birthday and enjoying a great time. He and I. In fact, I think we'll post a picture with he and I from 2 years. This was taken actually, 4 years ago, this picture. You can see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. A great picture of the late, great Basil and I. Anyway, not to get too sad and sentimental and all that, I did get a really fun text today from someone who listens to the show. And you remember that call we had a little while back where there was a lady who sounded like she was from New Jersey? Well, she really was from New Jersey. And they really do not say Basil in New Jersey. They say Basil. Even when they're talking about the herb, they say, well, we all say basil here in America, but the basil is a name in England from a little wonderful movie called Austin Powers.
You're fab, you're switched on, you're a bit of all right, yes!
And that's what inspired Basil's name. And then Basil Rathbone, the detective. But yeah, I had a reason for that. And yes, I had another text from someone saying maybe Mike's Daily Podcast should have Giorgio's Pizza there. And perhaps you would like to chime in about that at some point. But I wanted to tell you a story. I was talking to someone who's actually been on the podcast before. I can't say his name on the show. Although, maybe I can. I will. I will say his name because I'm going to also plug his podcast. If I can find what the heck his podcast is. I have it here. As I am looking that up, let me just say that I was telling him the story, which, by the way, you can find my podcast on Google Play and all the places. I'm on this so many places. Mike's Daily Podcast is everywhere. Spotify, radio.com, the radio.com app. There's a great many places. And so if you would like to perhaps check out wait a minute, what's this? Google Podcasts? With Google Play Music going away later this year, you can now transfer your subscriptions and episode progress to Google Podcasts, our dedicated podcast player available for free on Android, iOS, and web. Ah, okay. Let's see. It's called Niners Nation. And Nate is his name. And he does this one show called the 415 Podcast. And he talks about some guy named Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to laugh when I say it like that. Because I should say his name with like music behind my name. Behind when I say his name like this. But I won't play that because I'll get dinged. Anywho, we were talking about Stan Bush. Who's Stan Bush? As we go outside a cafe, anyway. We were outside a cafe already. Cafe, anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Mont today. The last place on earth. Yes.
Wowie, wow, wow, wow.
It's so nice here. A cafe, anyway. Anyway. Stan Bush sang that song, You've Got the Touch, You've Got the Power, You've Got the whatever. Not I've Got the Power by Snap, but the song from the Transformers TV show. And check this out. So I actually met him, and he had a band called Stan Bush and the Barrage. I think this was before he got popular with the Transformers song. So I had that album. I maybe listened to. Here's what happened. When I was a kid, my mom divorced my father. Then she met this guy. Or I don't know, maybe he met the guy first, then divorced my dad. The particulars are not important here. I went Irish all of a sudden. Oh, Flattery. You flatter me so much, Flattery. At any rate, so my mom had these parties at the house in Van Nuys, which, by the way, if you're hearing my voice and it sounds a little weird, I took the muff off. I took the muff off the mic, and I'll tell you why. It's because this guy said,
"That's enough. Put down the mic."
And I took the muff off because it's got the coronavirus in it, and I don't want to get it. Do you want to get it? I don't want it. Do you want the black lung?
I think I'm getting the black lung, Bob.
No, I don't. No. I don't want to do that, but I want to dance more Irish music. So, my mom gets remarried, but the guy that she remarried to was big in the entertainment industry. You wouldn't know his name, but he was big with special effects. He knew the people from Industrial Light and Magic. He's got it. His name is credited on the movie credits for The Right Stuff. He didn't like me much, by the way. Didn't like me because I was the son, right? I was the token. Here's the guy. Oh, he meets my mom. Let me back up a little bit. He met my mom, and then of course I was part of the package. I don't think he was too excited about that. I might be wrong. I don't know. Okay, so he meets my mom. They date. They fall in love. Whatever. He says, "I'm going to throw a party at your house in Van Nuys. I'm going to invite some of my friends. You invite your friends. I'm going to put a pig on a spit. I'm going to cook it. I've got a little motor I've created." He was handy. He could come up with motors and things and special effects and Industrial Light and Magic and Star Wars. Did I not play this? Okay. So we have this party, and one of his friends, her husband, worked in the music industry. And I'm all of like 10. And he comes up and says, "Hey kid, what do you listen to?" Well, back then I didn't like listening to music, believe it or not. I did not like listening to music. So I said, "I'll listen to anything. Who the heck are you?" And he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna send you some records. You seem like a cool kid. I'm gonna send you some records. I'm gonna give them to your mom's boyfriend, and he's gonna bring them over." Well, sure enough, he did. One of the records was the Stray Cats, their first album, which, by the way, I don't have any of these records anymore, and this is record albums, because this is the 80s and records were still big. This is a little bit this is early 80s, so this is pre-CDs. And then he brings over this record, Stan Bush in the Barrage. I listened to it like once, I didn't like it. Years later, I'm working at a country station in the 90s, late 90s. No, wait a minute. Late 90s. And there's this guy I meet through the country station I worked for, KHAY, in Ventura. And I was on at night. And this guy, and his name, I kid you not, it sounded like ChickfilA. It wasn't Chick-fil-A, but it sounded like Chick-fil-A, his name. I won't say his name specifically, but use your imagination. So he calls me up one day and says, "Mike, there's a friend of mine. He's got a party going on in Chatsworth," which is it's a little bit of a drive from Ventura, not too far. You got to go through Simi Valley, and then you go over the hill, and then Chatsworth is right there, and Northridge, and you're in the San Fernando Valley. Back again, we're back in the valley. So Van Nuys is in the San Fernando Valley. Lots of valley talk, like, oh my God. So we go to this party, me and Chick-fil-A, and I meet the guy, and I don't know who this guy is. His name kind of sounds familiar. His name is Stan Bush, and I'm like, why does his name sound familiar? And we're walking through his kitchen, and on his wall is the album Stan Bush in the Barrage that he did. And I went, "Oh my gosh, that's Stan Bush!" And so I said, I told him that story, and he thought it was kind of humorous. Then Chick-fil-A says to me, "We gotta go." So we leave the party, we go across. Now we had to do quite a bit of a drive. Now we're in Hollywood. We're over at not the Whiskey A Go-Go, but the Roxy. We're at the Roxy. Or what was it? The Key Club that was next to that. We're at one of those two things, and he wanted me to see. He was trying to represent a family. He knew these kids that were into music. He thought they were going to be the next big Hanson, the next big thing. So we go to see this showcase. I don't know why he took me along. We were kind of friends because we went to a Tim McGraw concert, or we met at a Tim McGraw concert, and so I guess we were friends. And so we see this family play, and then we go back to Stan Bush's party, and we hang out with him, his wife, and his kids, and there's like an open fire pit. Years later, I realized that Stan Bush was the guy that sang the Transformers song. So I'm here to tell you Stan Bush was a very nice guy. Chick-fil-A, I don't know what happened to him, but I hope he's doing well. He had a nice family. I actually met his son, his wife. Really nice people. They were all in Nashville. And actually, Chick-fil-A took me on a tour of Nashville. I'd never been to Nashville until I went there with ChickfilA and his wife. I will have to get further into that story at some point, but I got to wrap up the show because I got to go home. And we're outside a cafe anyway. There's some people here. Let's say hi to them, and then I'll figure out what the podcast picture is. How about that? Hello, Michael Mash. It's Madame Rootabega, and that was a wonderful story about ChickfilA. Oh,
Bueller.
I don't know why Bueller was involved with that. However, did you know that Matthew Broderick, who was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, was also in a movie called Torch Song Trilogy with Harvey Fierstein? Is it Fierstein? And that John Lovitz did a Harvey Fierstein impression on Saturday Night Live back in the day, where he'd go, "I just want to be loved. Is that so wrong?" And did you know that I saw John Lovitz at Jerry's Deli in Sherman Oaks? You might be going, who cares? Everybody's seen somebody at Jerry's Deli. Is it Jerry's Deli? The deli in not Sherman Oaks. No, it's on Ventura Boulevard. That's in the Valley. Back to the Valley, everybody. We just talked about the San Fernando Valley yet again. Anyway, I saw John Lovitz sitting there at a table, but I didn't want to go up and bug him because he wasn't Stan Bush. So, all of that to say that then we have this person here.
Hello, dear Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do not!
Mike, we didn't know that Matthew Broderick was in some movie there with the Harvey guy there that you talked about there.
Yeah, we didn't know that. Do not!
Really?
Uh-huh. Madam, did you enjoy today's show? Yes. Would you like me to do another show? Yes. How about tomorrow? No.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
I can't do the show anymore because I'm fired. Oh, well. Maybe you can rehire me. You, the listener. Let me know. 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is a Mike Matthews Daily, isn't what this podcast has not been this week very much, but we'll try to continue to do it. Basil's birthday, we're celebrating in the podcast picture. See a picture of him and me from 4 years ago at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And with more about that, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
And that was F episode. Thank you. And have a good weekend. Thank you. We had some visitors here at Cafe anyway. And that was episode 2123 More on this wonderful podcast at MikesDailyPodcast.com.